And we're off. And we're off. Well, thank you guys for spending your night, or at least part of your evening, together and sharing things. You know, our theme this year, as you know, is because we've already been pulling up our banners, is Rotary Opens Opportunities. And, you know, sometimes opportunities are there for us to grasp, and sometimes the opportunities whack us across the face. And I think right now, we're looking at option B. Opportunities are kind of whacking us across the face. So my first question for you, Christy and Terry, or how are you guys doing, or gals doing? Are you doing okay? You feeling good about things? Terry? Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I don't want to make a mistake. I'm just a little nervous about it, to be honest.
Well, you know, being a little nervous there's nothing wrong with, you know, with that. I mean, I'm not an athlete, but I've always heard it's, you know, the great athletes, even they have a little bit of nervousness going in. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing, absolutely, you know, nothing wrong. And, you know, quite frankly, we're in a situation where nobody's ever seen this previously. So if you're not a little nervous about something, I think that maybe there's something wrong with you. I mean, you know, because I mean, we've not seen anything like this. So, Christy, how are you doing? Okay.
I'm doing okay. I'm with Terry there. I'm a bit nervous, and we had a interim president who he's in Florida, helping out with some things, and then I was sick over the spring, pretty sick, yeah. And so I had that conversation with my husband Robin. He's a great Rotary supporter. He's been president of our chamber twice here in DeKalb County. And we had that conversation this morning about his support and guidance and helping me forge ahead.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, it always helps to have your partner on board when you're doing this kind of Rotary stuff.
Absolutely.
I certainly know that as well as anybody. I mean, you know, I have a pretty good asset in my house. I mean, you know, past director, I think that's a pretty good thing to have, right? So, hey, it looks like Bill's getting in here.
All right.
I guess we have to stop talking about him. Hi, Bill.
Hello. Hello. Do we have audio?
We have audio.
Great. Good.
We have radio.
Are you on your phone?
No. I don't have a camera. This is the State Farm system. They're pretty sparing with the technology, but we do have voice.
Okay, you have voice. Okay, well, we can hear you pretty good. So.
Well, this is about 120-year-old technology, so we're doing okay with it.
Oh, now, hey, don't pick on my stuff now. Come on.
We're going to have to change tubes here shortly.
Yeah, that's right.
See which tubes are hot. If they're not hot, they're dead.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about. I sent you guys a little agenda. I've got a little longer agenda, but you'll get a copy of this, by the way, when this is all said and done. So. How you doing on your club officers? So you got people lined up for next year, and are they in my Rotary yet, Terry?
My Rotary, I have not put them in. Okay. So I think we have most of our officers are lined up, aren't they, John? I just don't have them in my Rotary.
They should be, and I actually talked to Jake about freshening that up. So
okay.
But there's two ways to do that, right? You can either do it through My Rotary, or you can do it through DACDB and then cross-link it, right?
Yeah. You can. I mean, in a sense, it's almost easier to do it through My Rotary because you're going to have to get in there to put the goals anyway. So
right.
You know, just put them some of that in there while you're in there. So.
Yeah, it's not updated in DACDB yet. So I guess maybe that's something I need to do.
Yeah. Christy, how about you? I get just. Well, first of all, do you have your successor lined up? That's probably the most important question, right?
Yeah. I had, before everything hit, I had commitments. So I'm still waiting on some response from one person on vice president on that. And then just reaching out to people for their commitments and that were made pre-COVID.
Now, is your vice president your president-elect? Is that the person who follows you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, one thing that I will, remind you of is if you put these people in DACDB as a vice president, you also have to put that person in it as president-elect, so that everything moves forward. Because the vice president doesn't move anywhere.
Yes.
So keep that in mind if you want to run it through a DAC-DB. Bill, how about you? Well, you guys, I think, have been through this process many times, and your club's been around a long time.
No, we have. We'll be celebrating 100 years in a couple of years. But yes, that should have been uploaded. Our incoming vice president, will be the president-elect. That's David Mason Simpson. And I will confirm with the secretary that everything has been submitted to DAC-DB as far as the incoming officers.
Now, Bill, what you said you had a 100th anniversary coming up. Do you know about when that is?
The club was chartered in 1922.
Okay, all right. So what you want to do, because that's like 2 years from now, is talk to your club folks about if you're going to have any kind of celebration, and if you want to invite Rotary bigwigs, because if you do, we need to start working on that process pretty soon.
Great idea. And somebody has absconded with my ink pen. I loaned it to somebody today, and I guess it didn't make its way back. So anyway, we'll do that. But sure, I'll be in touch with you about, some high-profile Rotary representatives.
Yeah, because we've got, we have an invitation right now out to the 21-22 president to see if we can get that person to come to, I think it's Lebanon's 100th anniversary is like December 21. Yeah.
This year?
December of 2021. So it's a year and a half away.
Okay.
But you really have to plant those seeds pretty early. So if we can help you do that, we'd be happy to do that. Okay.
Great idea. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you.
Okay. So we talked about officers in my Rotary, and of course, then you all have been, unfortunately, and I'm sorry for the timing on this, but you were inundated with a series of emails asking you to have your committee chairs go or to attend the district training assembly next week. So please try to encourage them to do that. I think, it's a unique opportunity, I think, for us, because they're going to be, relatively short sessions, and they're going to be virtual, and nobody has to drive. And they're at that night and not on a Saturday. So hopefully you might be able to get some folks who might not normally be involved with that to participate. So.
Well, the other thing too is that you can attend all of them if your schedule allows it. Whereas normally when we do the Saturday session, you have to choose.
Right.
Well, I'd really like to do membership and foundation, but I can't because they're at the same time. So you got to pick the one that suits you that day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we'll probably have some extra. We're expecting pretty good turnouts. For that. At least I hope so. Okay, you said you try everybody's. Bill, did you try on your theme shirt? It's okay.
We have the best deputy governor in all of Rotary. I got to tell you that. John made a special trip to McMinnville to bring me the Rotary swag. He brought it. It was wonderful, along with some updated literature, which I very much appreciate. Very high quality literature, by the way. And he forgot the pen. He made a special trip back to McMinnville just to bring me that lapel pen. With the Rotary opens opportunities. Mm-hmm. So I challenge any club, any district to beat what John does as a deputy governor.
He's really good at it. Of course, he was probably looking for another excuse to ride his motorcycle, but we'll say he was doing it because he's a good AG. Right?
Well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Come on, folks.
As I told Bill, that motorcycle is insured by State Farm. So
Well, listen, may I commend your excellent judgment, John.
Okay. All right. So we got that done. Establishing committees, meeting with your board, working on your goals and your budget. How are we doing on that? Christy, have you got any start on that? Of course, you're a really pretty small club, aren't you?
Yes, very, very. And I'm lagging on that one. So that's on my agenda this week.
Okay. Do you have any idea when you all start meeting again?
No. Johnny has been in Florida, so we've not had anything, or not really had any communication at all. So we're just kind of up in the air. So
they've kind of dropped it in your lap to start on July 1st, haven't they? Pretty much.
Yeah, they're like, everything's just kind of been dead, and it's like you start July 1st. So that's where I am.
Okay. Bill, how about you?
Ron, did you call on me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. I thought I was kind of jumping in here, but you know, of course, we're watching all of the guidance that comes down from the district and from international, but of course, everything's suspended for June. But what is the latest? I've seen so many things that's all kind of running together, but what is the outlook for July in-person meetings?
Well, you know, our governor, I think, has expanded to 50 now. I believe that's right. And so, you know, and of course, you know, your guys' issue is you normally have that many or more at your meeting, and you've got a real tight space in that church basement.
Yes, we do.
You know, all the rules about social distancing and stuff is going to, you know, continue for a long time. So you're probably going to continue to have a challenge, you know, regardless of, you know, whether we're in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you know, whatever. What Rotary is recommending for all of us is to be able to try to meet in person, but also to provide some sort of a virtual option for those who can't attend, either because they don't feel comfortable going, or they're sick, or you don't have enough room, and which will probably be your case, Bill. You know, you won't have enough room if you
Right.
social distance things there. And so you know, and again, it's how that happens in each club is going to really vary. I don't know what the technology in your club. I was there a couple of years ago, but I don't know what your internet technology is down there.
Right.
Christy, if you're still meeting out in that clubhouse, I don't think there's much out there.
The only thing I think I could do would possibly carry over to conference room in our office.
Yeah.
It's a tight space, so I'm not sure. I just need to send out some exploratory emails and how people feel about that.
And Sparta, I think you had kind of if I remember, again, I don't guess I've been in the Sparta club since Karen was governor, so I don't know whether you even meet in the same spot. It seems to me like it was a community building or something like that.
Yeah, that was the Senior Citizen Center back then.
How's your meeting space now, Terry?
I think it's adequately sized, don't you think, John? I think it's big enough for everybody that attends. We'll have enough space.
Yeah, and we talked about that.
Yeah. Aren't we meeting outside for the month of June?
Yeah, there's a covered picnic pavilion in Jake's that's actually owned by the Baptist Church right behind Down Randolph. And they've agreed to let us have it there. So we're going to have a couple of them outdoors while we kind of plan the next steps forward. You were there last board meeting. That's what we talked about.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of clubs in our district try that, Bill, and that might be something you guys can even, think about doing, because, last month Hartsville did that. They got permission from their mayor to meet in a park, and they all went to the park and they brought their own food, and they had they have like 45 members, and half of them showed up. Lafayette is doing that this week for their first in-person meeting. And, we have a huge advantage. I was talking to one of the PDGs from Ohio yesterday, and I was telling them, about all that stuff. And I said, we have a huge advantage being here because we can do some outside stuff for a while. We can start earlier because we got better weather. We can go longer if we need to because we have, better weather. Get a little bit hot as we get into July and August. And, and hopefully things, will be kind of moving along. But that might be a good first opportunity to get people, if nothing else, just to get people together.
Well, that's really the paramount concern, is just getting our group back together. I had that thought hadn't occurred to me. I'm a little slow on the uptake, but the thought hadn't occurred to me. But there are some public parks with covered pavilions, and I think that's a capital idea. We may try to do that. The other issue we have at meeting at First Presbyterian Church, the catering service is done by the Ladies Guild at the church. You may remember
Right.
that.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And they do a splendid job. It's great, but they have expressed concern about going back into that space, and so they're a little reluctant about going back to doing the on-site catering. So maybe this idea of an off-site meeting under a park pavilion is something we would all pursue, and I've made a note of that.
Yeah, and and you can actually talk to them about maybe they could prepare the food to go for you guys.
Right.
And then you're still helping them. At the same time, you're not being right in their face.
Right. Let me mention also that our absolutely wonderful president, Shane Brock, he consulted board members and came up with the idea that during the COVID shutdown, we would continue to pay dues as normal, and of course, a large part of that is for the meals. And we've been using the portion of the dues that would go to the meals as donations to Meals on Wheels here, the Kids of the Community program for at-risk youth, and some other nonprofit humanitarian organizations. I think that has had a very warm reception from the membership. I have not heard a single sigh of dissent about that.
Yeah, and that's a real good plan. And actually, there's several clubs who have been doing. I'm not aware of any club where the members have asked for their money back. I think almost all of them have done either, Bill, what you're doing, or some combination where they're, maybe they're giving some of their money to the food bank and then some to the caterers, to kind of make up for their lost tips and stuff. So, and again, this is just, our East Tennessee Rotarians, East and Central Tennessee Rotarians doing what they do, doing the right thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just very characteristic of Rotarians to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to the remind everybody to make sure that you complete the online course about preventing and addressing harassment. Rotary International takes that seriously. Your district governor team takes that seriously. And I know you guys take that seriously. So please take that course online. It'll take you about, John, 25 to 30 minutes to do, maybe max.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
It doesn't take long. It'll probably take you half as long to figure out how to get in there than it will to actually do the course.
Yeah, Ron, that's the issue. That's what stymied my getting online with you this evening. Where do I find that? Just go to the district website, or where do we find it?
I sent it to you in PE session number 2.
PE, okay.
That was the instructions were in there, and if you can't find it, let me know and I'll send it to you again, or John can send it to you. But,
yeah, I can as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those instructions work, but again, my caveat on that email is the same I'll say now: is I wrote the instructions, so there's no guarantee it's 100% accurate.
I didn't have any trouble with it. I did it right after you sent it out. I went through all of those, and I didn't have trouble.
I didn't
Your
have
instructions
trouble.
were.
It's
okay.
pretty.
It worked okay, Terry?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There are 3 things to add to this, things that we needed to do or need to be done. And all 3 of these are on the list that you're going to get, so you don't necessarily have to write them down. But number 1 is, I don't think any of you have done it yet, but if you haven't done it, send me the photo that you want, an individual photo that you want us to put in the district directory. And please send it to me via email and not on your phone, to my phone, or by text, because if it gets on my phone, it may not get where it needs to go.
Can you pull that off of our profile? Because I uploaded mine today.
No, but you could, whatever you uploaded to your profile, you could send me. So
yeah, okay.
I don't think I can do that. Well, I can't do it. Maybe somebody else can, but I don't know how to do that. So. That'd be great. Number 2 is when you get a chance and you've got these nice new shirts and your pins and stuff, is get together and have a group photo of you all with your theme shirts on, because I want to show off in our district directory. I want to do away with it. I'm going to do away with this picture of the president of Rotary shaking hand with the governor. I want to put our people on the pictures. it's the folks like you who are getting things done. So I want to share that with everybody. And number 3, I want 1, not 2 here. I want 1 picture of the following of your choice. Number 1 is a picture of a hands-on service project that shows some of your Rotarians doing something, or a picture of your Rotarians having fun at one of your fundraisers. Either one, whichever you want to do. Send it to me again send it via email, and with a 1 sentence or short sentence description of it, because I want to use that in either the district directory or in the district newsletter to kind of show off all the clubs. What are the things we're doing? You're a Rotarian doing good service and having fun, because that's what Rotary's all about, right? So I want to kind of show everybody off to everybody else, because we're all doing great things. Okay, well, we've talked a lot about COVID-19 already in terms of some of the impact, and I still want to believe that this is a short-term situation, and we just have to be patient moving through it. And we've talked a little bit about club meetings and trying to get them in person when we can, because I think we all want to be in person, because Rotary is a people organization. I mean, we'd like to be with each other. Fellowship is a big part of a Rotary, and even though Zoom is convenient, and I love being able to talk to you guys, this is a lot better talking to you on the phone, but it's still not as good as seeing you face to face, or like we did at the pets orientation. That was a lot more fun for me. I don't know about you guys, but because you had to drive farther than I did, but at least but to me it's a lot better than just Zoom kind of meeting. So we want to do what we can with that, but we also want to be sensitive to those who can't or won't or shouldn't come, because of our current challenges. I got a couple of notes to add to it. Some clubs do what they call member moments, where they ask their member to take a couple of minutes and talk a little bit, about themselves. What's their occupation, or what was their occupation, and what are some of their hobbies, and why did they get into Rotary, and that kind of stuff. And this is actually a good time to be doing that, because we need to make sure we're connecting with our members. And so why not find out what everybody's doing? Remind everybody that, hey, Joe here is a barber, and he hasn't had any business for a while. So when I need my haircut, I need to go give Joe some business, right? Why not? I mean, Rotarians ought to be helping each other in that way, as well as just helping each other, being really good neighbors. What are you guys thinking about fundraising? Have you had any fundraising challenges from being shut down? I'm going to ask Christy first, because tell me about your fundraiser, and have you missed something?
Oh yes, we had a 5K in the planning for spring, so that was pretty much done.
Yeah. Okay. Have you rescheduled it, or?
No, we were planning on getting routes approved and registered, and T-shirts, and had all of that in the works. And then Johnny, our interim president, he went off to Florida to work for a hospital there for the COVID, and so everything just stalled.
Everything just stalled. Right now, is that your only fundraiser for the year, or do you do other things?
We do fish fries in the fall. Okay. We have historically, last year we didn't do one, but we definitely have a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah, and of course, then you're still hoping that there's no problem with meeting at that point too when it comes, because
absolutely. Yeah. Because I've heard a lot of discussion. I know we keep going back to COVID, but I hear a lot of discussion about second wave.
Mm-hmm.
Late summer, early fall. I've had physicians even mention it. So,
yeah. Oh, it's definitely a serious concern. I mean, it's an international concern. I mean, it's not just us. I mean, I think we've all been pretty lucky. I don't think it's been too bad in our counties.
Yeah.
But it's still an issue that we all have to deal with. Bill, how about your fundraisers?
Well, interesting that you asked, because I just talked this morning to Shane Brock, our current president, and Jay Bragg, who has been the long-suffering, very, very effective chair of the 4th of July Fun, Run, and Walk. This is in the 39th year in McMinnville. This has become an institution locally. The Middle Tennessee Dr. Pepper Bottling Company has been our sponsor for, well, I guess since the beginning. And this is one of our major fundraisers. We've made the commitment today to go public and say we're doing this again this year, 4th of July. The city of McMinnville has approved this. We're in consultation with them. The only challenge we have, and we've been thinking about this, is how do you get 150 highly competitive runners on the starting line and maintain social distancing. So we're working on that, maybe starting in different heats, maybe. But we're working on that, and I think we'll succeed with the plan. And I would like for the whole district to know that we're going to be sending something to you, Ron, hopefully to get in the district newsletter, because I think we probably have a lot of other competitive runners, amateur runners in the other Rotary clubs in the district. And since so many other events like this have been shut down or indefinitely postponed due to COVID, we just want the world to know that we're going ahead with it.
Okay, and this is the 4th of July.
It will be on the 4th of July, the actual day, which this year is a Saturday. Registration starts at 7 a.m. I think the actual race starts at 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock. For the less physically fit like myself, we call it a fun, run, and walk. So you can stroll the 5K if you want to. And at any point, if you want to turn around and come back to the starting line, yeah, that's your option. But yeah, we've had interest from far and wide over the years, and so we're going ahead with it. One reason, of course, it's one of our two major fundraisers of the year. The other is that we just like to show that Rotary is a strong, robust, resilient, an intelligent organization, and we're going to do this in compliance with CDC guidelines insofar as possible.
And you're going to make it work out. Bill, if you would send something to me and to Greg as soon as you can, because Greg isn't doing any newsletters right now. So, but
what about Sue Ann? Is she going to continue next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So Sue Ann Lewis would be the other one. If you copy me, I'll make sure it gets to Sue Ann.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do that, John. We'll send to you and Ron, and just trust that you all will take care of it.
Yeah, we can get.
Yeah, I'll make sure it gets there. Sue Ann's a good friend of mine.
We'll get it out.
Okay, great.
Listen,
Listen,
go ahead, Bill.
Oh, Terry. Well, I was going to say the other major fundraiser is it's our golf tournament, and that's set for August. We are going forward with that also.
Okay, great. Terry, how about Sparta's fundraisers?
We have a golf scramble on the 13th. We're going to go ahead with that. We didn't ask the small businesses in the community to sponsor it. We're just going with what the golfers pay. I think maybe we'll make a little, not the same as in past years, but it was a little not kind to ask the small businesses after they've suffered to donate.
Yeah.
So we have another fundraiser in the fall. So, and then on Valentine's Day. So maybe we can make it up.
Yeah, let me pass on an idea that I heard earlier from another club, which I would never have thought of this idea. But if you've got regular sponsors that have been loyal to you to the past, and you don't want to ask them to give this year, list them as a sponsor anyway.
Good idea.
So that you basically we're saying thank you for your past support. We appreciate what you do. We know that you can't help us this year, but thank you.
Good idea.
And and I think I thought that was a great idea too. It's like you talk about goodwill. I mean, you'll get lots of goodwill about it. They'll be back next year saying, how much can I give you? Hopefully, hopefully everything will be back, and they'll say, how much can I give you? So I thought that's one of the best ideas I've heard. And I won't take credit for it, I heard that, I think a couple of days ago. I thought, wow, what a great idea that is, especially since you've already let everybody know that you're not going to ask them for it. I mean, that's a wonderful surprise for them. Okay, I've got a couple more. They're not really COVID-related issues, but I put them in the same category because they have it's all about different things that are happening in our district. And again, I'm going to read this to you. It is in writing, so you don't have to write it down. But I want to be very clear about this. I want you guys to understand these two announcements. Okay. Number one, the district will no longer collect monthly attendance information. Now, clubs are still strongly encouraged to continue tracking attendance by each club's methods, especially at club meetings, as one measure of club member engagement. So what we're doing is we're not advocating that you do away with attendance at all. We're not advocating that you change what you do with your attendance at all. All we're saying is you don't have to send the report to the district every month because the district doesn't do anything with it and Rotary hasn't collected it for years. So why make you go through all that stuff? And of course, now with this, with the makeup thing, you can make up for a year now. So what good is a monthly attendance report at the district level? It doesn't do anything. By the same token, it's extremely important, in my opinion, and I think all the other governors and AGs will tell you the same thing. It's extremely important to know your attendance, both and especially at your meetings, so that it's how well your club is engaged. Are they interested in Rotary? Are your programs bad? Who are you not seeing that you need to to kind of keep in touch with? So tracking attendance is still important. Some clubs are still into this 100% attendance thing, and that's fine. If they want to do that, they can. All we're saying is we're going to try to eliminate one administrative burden from you, and that's all we're saying. So everybody okay with that? This is when you shake your head up and down?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Affirmative.
All right. And the second thing, and this is a similar kind of thing, is after this month, the district will no longer collect service hours on a monthly basis. And the rationale there, and again, is the same kind of thing. Clubs are still expected to track your service activities and make some reasonable report of hours in the manner best suited for your club. And you put that in Rotary Club Central and you put it in your annual report and you keep John up to date from time to time on that, okay? But reporting numbers to the district doesn't make any sense because, again, what are we going to do with it? Well, okay, maybe we could put an annual report from it, but we could do that by pulling something out of My Rotary. It's important, again, for your club engagement that you know what your club activities are, that you report them, that you know what they are, and you have some feel for who's participating in what activities, because again, that way you know what your members are doing. But to track, every hour that every person did on every single project for most clubs doesn't make any sense. Let's spend more time doing and less time counting. And I'm an accountant telling you that. So is everybody okay? Does everybody understand what what we're saying? We're not telling you not to do it. We're not telling you not to track hours, but do it in a way that is that makes the most sense to your club. Make sure that you put it in, put some total at the end of the year or quarterly or whatever into Rotary Club Central. And that's it. The district doesn't need that. Again, we're trying to eliminate an administrative burden for you guys. So everybody okay with that? It's another time to shake your head up and down. Okay?
Much appreciated. Okay.
Does everybody understand? I mean, I understand, and again, we're not saying that what Greg's done this year was a bad idea, because I know why he was doing it. But I don't think we need it to the extent that it's been done in terms of the details. So, okay, everybody, can we move on?
Good.
From that? Everybody,
yes.
Move on? That's
good.
Okay. The next thing is the district calendar, and you've all seen the amended calendar that says cancel for lots of different things. But I want to highlight a couple of the live things. Number one, we do plan to have the PETS orientation and the grants training in September and October on a live basis in Crossville. So please be sure that your successor is aware of that and encourage them to attend one or the other. I always suggest going to the September one in case something happens and you've got the October as a fallback. Plus, it also gives you another month leeway on, or head start on planning your presidential year. We will, of course, be needing to offer those virtually. I kind of hesitate to say that, but Rotary says we've got to take care of everybody who can't come because people are not going to. Some people are not going to meet until there's a vaccine. And that's the way they feel. We need to, we need to take care of those folks too. So, but we do plan to have those things live. And if it doesn't begin, we're going to keep that on the schedule as a live event until the last possible minute. We are still planning at this point, from my understanding, and John can verify this, I think, is the Purple Pinky Day is on as far as we know. How we do it might change, but we certainly are planning it right now. And that's probably the other live event that's really big in the next 6 months. Everything after January 1st right now is on as a go until we find out otherwise. That includes the district team training seminar in February, PETS in March, and the district conference cruise in April, although quite frankly, we're obviously have to be a little concerned about a cruising because we just don't know what's going to happen there. So one of the things I'm going to do is although you've been inundated with emails from me, you are going to get one more tomorrow morning. And as part of that email will be a short survey about the district conference cruise. Kind of giving it options about other things that we might want to consider. Some of it is kind of a plan B because we are dealing with two situations here. What's going to be the international COVID situation and what's going to be the situation with the cruise industry, along with are people even going to be comfortable cruising, right? Again, you're going to get back to some people won't get on a cruise ship until there's a vaccine period. And so we have to keep that in mind as well. So, but right now everything in the spring is a go right now. The other thing about the spring is you're going to hear more details in a minute, but I am planning to do every club visit virtually. Might be a challenge for you, Christy. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do there. But that's the plan right now, is barring any significant changes in what's going on, in our country and in the world with the COVID situation. Every club visit will be virtual. As a result of that, though, I still want to try to make visits to the club, and so that means I'll be trying to come back in the winter and spring to see you guys. So the implication there is you look at the spring schedule for what's on there and what are the events that Ron's going to be at. That tells you the dates that Ron's not going to be doing something, and maybe if you've got something planned for that day, or I can come to a service project or a fundraiser or something like that, have a chance to see everybody, because every governor wants to go to the club at least once and hopefully twice. In my case, it's going to be once, probably at the most, because it's Rotary's all about meeting the folks, right? I mean, and so we're going to try to get there. So if you can find something if you've got something scheduled in the spring, we'll see if we can make something match up. Okay. All right. The next thing on here is the district governor citation. I talked earlier about, staying positive and being positive. And right now, my opinion is this is a short-term situation. Our Rotarians will respond to the best they can to all of our regular challenges. So we still are going to encourage people to be clubs, to be star clubs, to be globe clubs, to be polio eradicator clubs, and all the various things that we have on the district governor citation, with the understanding that we're in the same situation you are. 3 months, 6 months, well, it's not 6 months from now, but 3 months from now, we don't, if things are considerably different one way or the other, then we might have to, revisit these things. But right now, it's all, we've got the challenge out there. We think, we think we can do it. Our Rotarians are really famous in my mind for stepping up to challenges. So I think that we'll be able to do the things that we want to do, barring, again, a really bad situation, or as you said, Christy, as long as we don't have a terrible second surge, it's we can get all these kinds of things done. One of the things that I have done is that I have, one of the things on the citation list is a possibility of participating in the Mexico 100 and 100 program. I sent you all a copy of that. I've challenged all the AG groups to try to do one project between, in this case, your 4 clubs. And there's a nice variety of projects on there. John, you've seen the list.
I have shared it with all of them.
Yeah, and they will get their own copy too. They'll get another one from me as part of the email tomorrow. John's got all the descriptions of the projects if you want them too, so you can look at some of the details. But if you can make it happen, it would be great, because the people in places like Mexico, if Rotary doesn't help them, they don't get any help because they're getting nothing from their government. Rotary makes a much bigger difference there. It makes a huge difference in our country, but in their country, it makes an even bigger difference. So
now, Ron, I have one question about that list.
Yes, go ahead.
So there's quite a few, or proportionally, there's a lot of them that are ranked as being Rotaract projects.
Mm-hmm.
Does that preclude a club from taking, or an area from taking those on? Or are they specifically reserved for Rotaract?
Oh, no. Actually, we are encouraging clubs to work with, especially if you have Rotaract clubs. No.
Okay.
No, actually what we did is we identified Rotaract and Interact clubs because our priority was to bring forth projects that were coming from Rotaract clubs and Interact clubs in Mexico. And as you notice, there was a heavy emphasis on peace.
Mm-hmm.
And at least with our initial list, there was a heavy emphasis on projects that served people who were, high risk, women and children. Not all that made it to our final 16, but that was our, philosophy there. So, no, those aren't reserved for Rotaract at all. These are all club projects that we hope people are working with their local Rotaract and Interact clubs.
Okay, good.
Because that's
Just
one of the
wanted
things.
to hear that out loud.
Yeah, because we want to get our Interact clubs. The Interactors already heard that. Well, you were there, John. The Interactors have already heard that we're doing this 100 project, and we want them to be part of that, and actually see a project that they're putting their money into, as opposed to just saying, "Here's some money to do this." And I think that will be appeal to them. So anything you guys could do to consider that would be helpful. And John's been there, so he knows what the situation is.
I was looking forward to going again.
Yeah, well, of course, that was another one of the canceled things, right? So
Right.
we don't know when. My guess is it's going to be calendar 2021 before anybody from the U.S. can go to Mexico. I'm afraid, because their situation down there is bad. I heard today, John. I heard yesterday, John, that they've been telling us, the actual number of deaths, you need to multiply by 3. I mean, I heard that from our friends down there 2 months ago. 2 days ago, I heard you need to multiply the number by 8. So when they officially report 10,000 deaths, they actually have 80,000 deaths. And they're gonna blow past us. Well, Brazil's gonna blow past us too, but Mexico's gonna blow past us as well. So it's just a sad situation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to page 2. And page 2 will go faster than page 1. This is where you applaud, right? It's like, yay, okay. All right. We are going to offer a voluntary quarterly meeting of club presidents. We'll just pick some day, some time. We'll have a couple of themes, but all the presidents will be invited to get on the Zoom and share ideas and concerns and thoughts like that. Because we think it's a good idea, because you guys can learn more from each other than you can from me. So just give you a chance to kind of get on board. We're thinking about having, this idea. It was not my idea, but I came up with it. They actually first suggested monthly meetings. Well, that got shot down pretty quickly in the first couple of nights. So because there are too many monthly meetings now, right? So we're going to talk about quarterly meetings. But again, if you get more people together, you get more good ideas. And we're thinking maybe like the middle of August or so might be a good time to have our first one, because you'll be 6 weeks into your term. You will have had a chance to see what's working and what's not working, and get a chance to share that, with each other, because we're all going to have, we've got 64 clubs and 2 satellite clubs, And I guarantee you every one of them is going to have a different challenge of some variety. And I can also guarantee you a lot of you will have the same issues too. So to the extent we can share it, I think it's good. Okay, and excuse me, John, I don't know if you're meeting with your folks now, monthly or quarterly, or what are you doing now?
The club presidents?
Yeah.
I try to get over to each club about once a month. Some of them a little bit more. Yeah. But you know, I'm just, if it's a nice day for a ride, I just go over there. You know?
Well, yeah, I'm encouraging all the AGs and the Ps to think about doing Zoom meetings monthly.
Yeah, we had talked with the presidents before at PETS last year when we were all live, and to be honest with you, I just didn't seem to get a lot of enthusiasm from the presidents that they all wanted to meet together. So, so I just go drop by.
Yeah, well, I think you got a better group of presidents this time, so I think you got a better chance.
Far better.
All right. So anyway, it's something that I am suggesting to folks.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm certainly open to doing it.
Yeah. And again, it's just
Zoom. You know, Zoom's a different thing. We did meet a couple of times, but it was always live. We went over to the ag station or something, and it was just difficult to get everybody's schedule coordinated. But like this, it'd be good.
Yeah, Zoom makes it easy because nobody has to travel. You know, you spend it. You know, you spend no more. If you say it's an hour meeting, you're talking about an hour and 5 minutes max, right?
Right.
You know, and you 2 minutes to sign on, 2 minutes to sign off, and you probably won't even meet the whole hour most of the time. So.
Yep.
That's kind of how it works. Okay, number one, include me in your weekly bulletin or newsletter or whatever you give to your club. If you would start copying me on that, you can do it now if you want, but at least start in July, so I can stay connected to what all you are doing. Number two, please be sure to tell John or me or any other district leader if there's something you need, or if there's a way that we're not meeting your needs, because we are here to help you and your clubs. Rotary's all about the clubs and the members. That's the only reason why the district is here. So make sure that we're there to help you. And when the year's over, if we've done something that you like, let us know that so that Cindy keeps doing it and we don't let it drop off by accident. So, although John will keep us clean there, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, investing in your club. You guys are going to get lucky. I'm about to lose my voice, so we're going to cut this real short. If you don't have somebody, and again, this is hard for you, Christy, but if you can find somebody to track your awards in your club, do it, and ask them to do it for multi-years. You know, Terry, your club's big enough to do that. Bill, your club's big enough to do that. I think Joseph's club's big enough to have that.
Yeah,
is a good job for somebody. Not your president, because presidents, a lot of times the president ends up taking his job on it. It's not president, that's too much to do. Club secretary shouldn't be doing it because that person's got too much to do. So see if you can find somebody to do it. Same thing with the technology stuff. If you can find a DAC DB, my Rotary Club Central person to do it for multi-years, same thing, try to get that done. Presidential ladder, well, we kind of talked about that already when we were talking about it. You got everybody lined up. And again, it's, Bill and Terry, it's easier. That's kind of tradition. And Christy, you with a small club, it's pretty, you have to go find somebody every year pretty much, don't you? I mean, that's kind of the way it is. Yeah. If you haven't done club visioning, think about doing it. But I would caution this year that, because there's so many unknowns this year, Rotary is obviously going to have to take a look at how they do business moving forward. But you've got so much going on right now. Maybe the thing to be thinking about doing is to introduce your club to the concept of club visioning and what it can do for you, and then try to move toward doing it next year or after COVID gets on and things are kind of more back to normal. I would not recommend it for anybody right now. There's just too much going on. But your club can really benefit from that, regardless of how big or small your club is. And of course, delegate to the extent that you can. I mean, you cannot do it all. I think I told you that back in September, and I'll say it again. You cannot do it all, so don't try to do it all. Let your folks help you. Okay, the district governor club visit. Do I have any early ones with you, John? Let me see my list here. No, we don't have any July ones with you. So, I'm checking with some of the clubs that have the, July stuff because that's going to be here pretty soon. As I said, my visits are going to be virtual, barring any changes. It's going to create some problems with board meetings. We'll work on that. I will. My club visits were really designed to be kind of hands-on, in-person kind of stuff. And so some of the things I was going to try to do aren't going to work. My original plan was to have no technology. I mean, I had a flip chart, I had props, all this kind of stuff. And now what do I have? Everything's being done on Zoom. Oh my God, it's kind of that kind of changes things a little bit. But there are a couple of things that we're going to be doing. I will have some props. I will promise you that. Excuse me here. Allergies here are starting to kick up in this part of the world. There will be some props, and I'm going to tell you that one of the things that's going to happen early, and I will tell you about this when we get closer. Early in the program, I will be asking one person in your club to tell me about that person's favorite fundraiser. And then I'll ask another person in the club to tell me about that person's favorite service project. And you'll pick out that person ahead of time, and I'll have the question to you ahead of time so that you can have that person ready. But we'll do it early in the program because I want to get the club members involved, with our program, and I want to show off your club a little bit to each other, and you might find out that somebody really likes a project and you had no idea that they really liked it because they never show up for it. And yet they really think it's important. Well, just even knowing that is a plus. At least people are appreciating the fact that you guys are doing it. So that's one of the things that we will try to do, even though we're not meeting in person. Now, the other thing that's going to happen, and this is the spoiler alert. This is what I can't do in person that I really would like to do in person, but I just can't because it ain't going to work. And Bill, since you don't have a phone, you can't see it. But what I was going to do at the end was present each of the club presidents with one of these.
Wow, that's neat.
He says he doesn't know what it is, right?
The heart to heart, yeah.
Oh, so you can.
He can see, you just can't see him.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, and yes, it is a shameless plug for Heart to Heart, but the story is really about this teddy bear, and I'm not going to spoil the reason why you're getting this teddy bear, but this will be a gift to you and your club, which will be for you. But I will be sending these to John, and John will get them to you. And you have to keep them out of your club program and out of sight until the governor makes the visit, okay? But
Sure.
You bring it to the visit, and then you'll know the cue at the end to bring up Teddy, okay?
Okay.
And John, you bring yours when I come to the Sparta Club, because you get one too, okay?
All right.
And then
I'm gonna name mine Frank.
And then when the time comes, you can bring Teddy on, and Teddy's got some personality. He's starting to like the Zoom stuff. He likes to.
Oh yeah.
He likes to get in on things.
He's quite a ham. Yeah.
He is a ham. I got to really control that guy. I mean, he's a wild man. But these teddy bears and there's got some lighter colored and some darker colored. That more like real teddy bears or more like bears. They were handmade in Mexico and hand traveled back from Mexico. Rosa Mar brought 30 of them back, John, and I brought 60 of them back. Because you can get 30 in a suitcase, we found out, and I had to bring 90 back. So unfortunately, I could
just imagine what they thought you were trying to bring all those bears back.
Well, I can tell you that every bag got opened by both of them I had, and the one Rosa all had the TSA check on it. Yes, they all thought that there were drugs coming back from Mexico and stuff. That's correct. So anyway, that's part of the story, but you'll hear it later. Okay, we talked about club goals. All right, a couple more notes, and then I'll take us some last questions and answers before we get to the wrap up here. As I said, you will get one more email. You'll get it tomorrow morning. An email will have the following things. It will have the agenda that we talked about today, except you'll get the whole 2-page thing. So you'll have all the notes that were used. Okay. You will get another copy of the 100 in 100 program description, a little bit prettier than the one you got before. It's got a little logo on it. You'll get a copy of the projects, but John's already given that to you, but you're going to get another copy. And then on the email will be the survey about the district conference that I want you to just, all you have to do is check some boxes and email it back. It'll take you about 3 to 5 minutes to do it. And that'll help us, evaluate what our options are moving forward for that. The other question I have is, and I don't think you guys have any of these in the hopper, but are any of these clubs looking to do a global grant next year?
We in McMinnville are not at this point.
Okay. And Terry, you're not planning anything, are you? As far as you know?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we weren't aware from any because we usually Jim Roxell is pretty much up to date on. Jim and Beth pretty much know. They weren't aware of any of that, but I want to make sure because we're trying to make sure we're taking care of our, DDF because we've got lots of needs for our DDF, including polio that we want to make sure we take care of. So we want to make sure we've got a proper balance of things. I kind of sped things along here a little bit at the end because I'm starting to lose my voice and it's getting, hell, it's 9 o'clock here. It's almost my bedtime. So I gotta get moving. So.
We, by the way, we have a city government imposed curfew in McMinnville tonight.
Yeah.
Starts at 8
o'clock.
And why is that?
Well, we had a demonstration in the downtown park today, and of course, law enforcement, had no idea of what to expect. So, the number of police and sheriff's deputies and highway patrol officers probably equal close to the number of demonstrators. So it was, but everything went very peaceably. I did a little live shot for the public radio station, interviewing some of the key people in the demonstration, but I saw no hint of any kind of disorder. The only thing that looked halfway threatening was the 6 highway patrol officers who got out of their cruisers with truncheons and a very ominous looking black canvas bag. Now you can guess what was in the black canvas. I'm going to guess there were some tear gas canisters and a few rounds of rubber bullets, but there was a counter demonstration that didn't really demonstrate to maybe a dozen people at a respectful distance away from the park. So anyway, but we still have the curfew tonight.
A little more excitement than you knew, huh?
Right.
Was it local protesters or was it?
Probably I'm going to guess maybe a third, and we're estimating somewhere between 75 and 100 demonstrators.
Wow.
And the ones that I interviewed about maybe 5 or 6 of them. Yes, some local, well-recognized individuals, a couple of out-of-towners, but not far out of town. Close enough that they could be considered local. Yeah. Frankly, I wasn't interested in doing any interviews with the professional out of towners who kind of follow these events for whatever reason. But it just occurred to us that the community of color here had some important things to say, and they needed an opportunity to say it. So. They did, and everything proceeded very peacefully.
Yeah.
No issues.
And that's good. And that's there's nothing wrong with a good peaceful demonstration to send a message that everybody needs to hear.
Well, Ron, in the First Amendment, there are 5 enumerated rights for all Americans, basically having to do with freedom of religion, speech, and petition for redress. And these demonstrators were exercising 3 of those 5 rights. Like I say, it's just very peaceful, very respectful, no issues. The law enforcement stayed, maybe 50 feet away, just watching. Absolutely no hint of disorder.
Good. Okay, you guys have any other questions or comments or anything before I give you my 2-minute wrap up?
I have a question about the goals.
Yes.
I have some goals in. If I save those, can I go back and edit them? Or no?
I think the answer is yes. So John, you've done this before. I think, yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can change. Sure.
Yeah,
And sometimes things change
yeah,
and
that's
during the
right.
year.
That's
And
right.
if you
Well,
thought you were going to contribute something and now you can't because, yeah, you can change it. Sure.
Yeah.
I thought it might be a good idea to talk with Michael about it, just to be on, so we're on the same page, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. 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 You know, it'd be nice if you have your goals in close to the July 1st, but it's better to take your time and do it right than to rush it just to say that it's done. Because it doesn't mean anything unless you really put it in there because you really believe that's the right thing to do.
And talk to your current presidents as well, because they, especially if they have a goal in, to understand what the thought process was and the history behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so concluding remarks are: number one, take a deep breath. Yeah, we're all going to be fine. We're gonna get through this. Number two, and this is really important in my mind: stay positive. Rotary is a very positive thinking organization. I'm a very positive thinking guy. John's certainly a very positive thinking guy. I think you all seem to be pretty positive thinking PEs, and your clubs are all good clubs. So there's no reason not to think positive. If good things happen to people who think positive. I really believe that. And if you send a positive message to your club, the club will know it, and they'll respond accordingly. So if you keep positive, things will keep moving forward. Have confidence in your team. Again, you've all got good clubs. Christy's got a little bit more of a challenge because of her size, but she's going to turn some things around over there. I can just tell. I can see it in her eyes. But you have good. Each one of these 4 clubs has really good people in them. So let's let them do their thing because they can do it. You just if you're there with them, they'll be there with you. I'm reminded from COVID about the fact that every member's needs are different. When we used to think about Sally not showing up for a club meeting, we were really concerned about, well, was Sally out of town on vacation or was she sick, and not whether Sally was worried about coming to a club meeting because she might get a disease or because she isn't attending online because she doesn't have a computer, or she doesn't know how to use a computer, or she's got a computer and she knows how to use it but she doesn't have enough bandwidth. All of a sudden everybody's got a lot more different things going on than we would have ever thought about. So as your folks talk to you about things going on in their lives, just remember to be even more patient than you normally are, because listening is a real important thing, and if you just listen to them, that'll help them and it'll help you too. So just kind of keep that in mind. We are looking at the most challenging time since World War II, and I can say that only because that's what they're telling us, because none of us were around in World War II, so we don't have that real frame of reference. But certainly compared to other things that have happened since then, it's definitely different. But we're gonna get through it because we've got great PEs in this group. I have a lot of confidence in you. You've got a really great AG. We have the best AGs in our 2 zones, and it's not just because of John, although he's obviously one of the best of the best. But you can talk to any of the other district governors in our 2 zones, and they'll tell you our district always has. Our AGs do more than any other AGs in any district, and that's a real benefit for our club. So thanks to people like John, and that also it helps the clubs. It also helps make the governor's job a lot easier, I can tell you. I sleep pretty good at night. But the other thing we get, Gareth, of course, we got great Rotarians in this district, and we kind of talked about that early on. So the people in East and Central Tennessee are just good people. They respond to all the challenges that we've seen over the years. I mean, even recently, 2 different sets of tornadoes. This year to go with COVID, we had we had the fire in the Smokies a couple of years ago. I guess it's now been 3 years ago now since that happened. And yet everybody stepped up and worked together and made things happen. So let's make this a great year. Let's certainly have some fun. But most of all, I want to thank Christy, Terry, Bill. Thank you, and Joe Joseph when he sees this on the video. Thank you all for leading your club. John, thank you for being an AG and a good friend, and mostly thanks all of you for being Rotarians, because Rotarians do make a difference, and what you do every day does make a positive difference in this world. And I just can't thank you enough for that. So with that being said, if no one has anything else to say, I'd say let's say good night. Everybody have a great week. Thank you for spending 75 minutes together. If there's anything we can do, let John know, let me know, whatever the case may be, and look forward to seeing you guys again soon, with either virtually or, well, it'll be virtually, I guess, first before I see you in person. But anyway, somewhere down the line, till we meet again, I think was the old saying, right? One of those Westerns or something like that.
Right. Well, good night, and good to be with you on the Zoom meeting. Terry, Christy, John, and Ron, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you guys for your leadership. Everybody have a great night. I'm going to turn us off if we're ready. Everybody wave and say goodbye.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Night, everybody.
All right. I'm going to push the end meeting. Here we go.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Okay. Bye-bye.